Hello everybody, my name is Brad Mason. I'm the Pioneer Field Agronomist in Western Illinois. It's the last week of June and fungicide time is almost here for the corn crop, so I wanted to give a quick update on some of the corn diseases I'm seeing, as well as some of the fungicide conversations I'm currently having in the countryside. There are a few corn diseases we talk about regularly and scout for regularly, and those are northern corn leaf blight, gray leaf spot, and tar spot. Those are kind of the big three. We also see common rust. Occasionally we see southern rust. There is some anthracnose, leaf blight, things like that we talk about. But really those three that I first mentioned there are the ones we talk about most. So I do want to bring up the fact that when I've been scouting a lot of the early to mid-April planted corn crop, I'm able to find a lot of times all three of those diseases in our corn crop, believe it or not, in different severities. You know, our corn on corn fields and maybe some varieties that are more susceptible to those diseases, I can regularly find those diseases. However, you know, I always encourage everybody to scout. And the conversations coming up is I'm standing in a corn crop here currently that has 5 more leaves to go before it tassels. So that's you know, maybe 10, 15 days, depending on the weather, could be up to 20 days before we see a tassel pop up. And so the question becomes, when should I spray? Why am I seeing disease this early? I've been talking to a lot of folks saying, you know, hey, we're going to see more disease currently if the weather holds the way it is this year in 2025 than we've seen maybe in 2024 and 2023. The reason that is because the last 2 Junes have been very, very dry. The other thing the last 2 Junes have provided is we haven't had much humidity. I've been able to walk fields early in the morning and not have dew on them the last couple years. This year, that's kind of changed course. We've had some larger rain events in some geography, other areas. We've just had ample rain in June. We've had humidity. We've had temperatures that have swung here and there. We've had 70-degree days. We've had 80-degree days. But most importantly, we've kept those leaves wet. And that is what diseases need to really take hold. We have gray leaf spot, we have northern corn leaf blight, and we have tar spot readily available in most of our soils through this geography. We just need the right environment. We talk about disease triangles. We talk about all the things that need to be here. We have the host with our corn crop here. We have the pathogen in our soil. We just need the weather, the environment, and the time. And when we have these conditions kind of blowing up here the last couple weeks, we start to see these diseases take hold. I'm a firm believer of we have the textbook answer, right? Of this disease only takes hold when it's 60 to 75 degrees and it needs 12 hours of leaf wetness. It doesn't mean if you have 11 hours of leaf wetness, but you have those temperatures, that disease won't develop. It's a living organism, no different than you or I. It will adapt, it will overcome in a lot of these circumstances. I encourage everybody to go out and scout. I encourage everybody to go take a walk in their cornfields and see what they can find. I've seen difference in severities. I've seen some fields where I've been like, wow, there's a fair amount of northern corn leaf blight out here. We might start talking about a fungicide application right at tassel. I've been in other fields where I can't find northern corn leaf blight, but I can find tar spot. And some of that is variety differences. Each hybrid responds differently and can fight those diseases off. I've seen difference in residue. If we have a high residue load and it's corn on corn, we might see more disease, which just makes sense. So I encourage you all to get with your local Pioneer agronomist, your Pioneer territory manager, your Pioneer rep, and go scout your fields. I think you'd be surprised what might be out there. The other thing is when we talk about fungicide timing, there is no crystal ball. There is no perfect timing. The biggest thing I tell people is it's just like our weed control. Start clean, stay clean, right? So when I'm walking out scouting fields and I start to find diseases, I'm looking at where that ear leaf is. A lot of times, you know, it's here to up here on our canopy, and I'm going to look to see where that disease is in relationship to that ear leaf. And this point in time, I don't know exactly where my ear leaf is without completely dissecting this corn plant. So I'm just looking at the severity of it. Am I finding a fair amount of tar spot in the middle of the canopy? Gray leaf spot in the middle of the canopy? And there are some certain circumstances I am. And a lot of times with tar spot, it does adapt, reproduce rather quickly. So I encourage people to scout, figure out whether or not that variety is susceptible to it, because it can take over that canopy very darn fast. I encourage you to talk to your local Pioneer representative to have that conversation. This field I'm in currently is a rotated field. It's actually pretty clean. I can find a few gray leaf spot lesions, a few tar spot lesions, but not a ton. So, there's a lot of talk about the disease pressure. I do think we're going to see it ramp up with just the humidity and leaf wetness, but I do encourage you at least to go scout before we make some of these decisions. Thank you for watching.
That concludes this Pioneer Agronomy video podcast. Visit our page on pioneer.com and follow us on Twitter and Facebook for more agronomy insights.